Time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome. Take two.
Nothing like having a talk show with no audio. Steve Nontelman with Mystery Mark, Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. Sorry about that.
Hopefully it's working.
What can I tell you? Hopefully you didn't get bad audio in the credits there.
Right.
Nothing. What can I tell you? We're running a little late today.
We
lot
actually
of news,
were on
big
time
show.
there for a second.
Well, we were almost on time.
Yeah,
you got to give us
almost.
credit for that.
Right.
You know, technical support needs to get fired again. We went through that like a year and a half ago or something. Anyway, a lot of news. We'll start out right away. Tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern. 4:30 Central. Jimmy Widmer is fifth up. So that's about the time he's scheduled to play in the Daily Mirror World Darts Trophy.
Correct.
Or whatever it's called. They ripped
a
us
BDO
off.
event.
Well, we've got the Dart Talk Players Challenge Series, and all of a sudden the Daily Mirror is like, ooh, that's a good idea. Let's do that. They put it together, invited all these people. I mean, literally ripped us off. That's how good. You know you have a good idea when you're getting ripped off overseas.
Right.
So congrats. Anyway, we'll be rooting for Jimmy. I did not have time to find a link. It's live on Eurosport. So we will post a link to Jimmy's match tomorrow as soon as we find one that works. And we'll put it on the Dart Talk Facebook page, and we'll communicate it as best we can. So that's
good luck to him.
Yeah, good luck to Jimmy.
Yeah.
He's got Tony O'Shea, who didn't look like he was in very good form at Lakeside. He lost like 9 straight legs. So hopefully Jimmy can get up on him quick and finish him off. That would be ideal, I think.
Right.
Ideal scenario for Jim there. Get on top. Put some pressure on this guy, because I guarantee you, Tony O'Shea is going to go in there saying, "Oh, well, it's an American. I should smoke this guy." Mm-hmm. And if Jimmy gets on top of him early, the guy will fold like an accordion. I mean, he's not playing very well. He knows he's not playing very well.
Right.
You can look in the mirror and be like, "Geez, I lost 9 straight legs at Lakeside." I mean, you can't feel that good about yourself when you get pounded like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be good. Because I think if Jimmy can get on a roll and get some of the confidence that he plays with when he plays in the States, he'll have a good showing. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all up for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're up for a disclaimer, too.
Let's disclaim any and all things.
The views, opinions, rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
Okay, so there's that. You've been disclaimed, or we have disclaimed. Good. Thanks for that, Sparther. So where are we now? Is Sabu Cat in the chat room? Is he in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, he made it back then. I didn't have, I was kind of had a hectic day, and I overslept. So Angelo from Buffalo was in town. Mm-hmm. Our chat room guy.
He had
from
to
last
leave
week.
in this weather.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I can't believe he got out.
Yikes!
They had 8 inches of snow, something like that. I mean, some insane amount.
It was 5. They had 5 recorded this morning at 6, but we got like 2 or 3 later.
Yeah, and
the
that
rest
was
of the morning.
Was that at O'Hare?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. At the lake, it's just drifting, and so you get these piles. Brutal. It was ugly. So we're traipsing around like Lakeview last night at like 3:30 in the morning. We literally went to a restaurant that said we're doing something in the kitchen. The restaurant's open, all the lights are on. It's a 24-hour restaurant, right? So Angelo and I, we go in this restaurant, and the guy's like, well, we've only got really like cold sandwiches and this. We're doing something in the kitchen, whatever it was. And Angelo's like, well, can I get like, bacon and eggs? And the guy's like, yeah, sure. It's like, okay. We sit down, waiter comes over, takes our order, bacon and eggs, sausage and eggs. Guy comes back 5 minutes later, well, I can't do sausage. Is bacon okay? I'm like, yeah, fine. Whatever, bacon.
Right.
15 minutes later, it's now, because we were playing, until we closed out Murphy's, right? So we were playing till now it's 2:30 in the morning, 2:45. Guy comes by. I'm really sorry, but I can't get you anything. And we're looking at each other
they just
like,
want you to drink coffee?
Saying, we were drinking water anyway. It was like drinking coffee at like 2:30 in the morning. It's like the guy's like from out of town. He's freaking starving, and these guys like make us wait 20 minutes and then say they have no food. So we're walking through snow drifts, and we end up going like to Clark's by the Red Line, and it was insane. I got home at like, I don't know, with a cold at like 4 in the morning, whatever it was. So I'm glad he made it back. So I see him in the chat room.
Absolutely.
He must have lived. So hi, chat room guy. Good to see you. What's on the list first? The Premier League starts tomorrow
we do
night.
we have Premier League preview.
Yeah, and
it starts tomorrow.
Well, now, what did you think? They posted the odds.
Yes.
Right? So the overall favorite to win is
Van Gerwen.
Van Gerwen's the overall favorite to win.
A slight edge over Phil Taylor.
Slight edge over Phil Taylor, but they're playing tomorrow night.
Correct. For the first round, yes.
For the first week, and they had identical odds, right? It was, what was it?
Well, it was 7-5. Phil Taylor, they were 7-5, so basically they were pick'em.
So that's pick'em, and then the draw is 7-2. So what does that mean? That
and
it's more likely.
Phil was 11-5, so it's more likely that So they're making Van Gerwen the favorite.
If they're both 7-5, then how's Van Gerwen the favorite?
Well,
for the first week.
For the first week, he's not. Right.
He's not.
It's kind of interesting.
I don't understand how if they play each other heads up, it's
technically
pick'em, but for the whole thing, is it like in America where there's more people betting on Van Gerwen than Taylor, and so the odds reflect that? Is that kind of how they do it?
Well, that's possible. I don't know if the odds that they're showing reflect what's already been bet, or if they're the original come-out odds. If they're the original come-out odds, then they made Van Gerwen the favorite for the tournament, but then they made Taylor and him a pick'em for their first round.
See, I don't understand how, if guys are playing heads up and they're pick'em, one guy's favored to win the whole thing over another. That I don't get.
It doesn't make sense.
All right, what's the other? I'll take another personal moment. I got like this great phone call today from somebody I haven't talked to in years who is a member of the national team at one point. And he's like rooting around on the internet. He basically quit playing darts, and he's coming back. So I don't know if he Googled darts on the internet, but he actually found the show. He's like, he sent me a message, hey, let's talk, catch up. And he's like, literally like, can I set up a money match for him? Because he saw this Players Challenge Series things, and he's like, well, I want to play one, but I want to play somebody heads up for money, like $500 or something. And I'm like, so what do you want me to do? You want me to go on the show and be like, hey, okay, who wants to play for $500? I got just a guy to play you.
Be like dart brokers.
Well, that's actually a company.
I know, but
yeah, I mean, we're matchmakers, we're match brokers now.
Yeah,
is that what this show's come to? Is that a bad thing? No, it was kind of interesting, but I will say one thing because I see a couple of people in the chat room. I told him he's having a hard time, and I don't know if this is common, but you know how all these guys are playing soft tip online. Like you put I don't I haven't done it because we don't have a soft tip by me, but you put in your quarters or you slip your card in, whatever, and then you kind of click some buttons and you find people that are kind of waiting to play, and you pick one and you play. Well, apparently. And this is not a technical guy. He's like doesn't use Facebook and stuff like that. But I've seen this. I've seen guys like on Facebook being like, "Hey, I'm going to be on this machine at such and hit me up, whatever." And he's telling me he goes on. I don't remember what machine, but he goes on one of these soft tip machines online, and he can't find anyone to play. And I'm like, well, let me tell you. Here's what you do. I'm like, get yourself a webcam for like $20, $30. that you can kind of plug in, find a tripod or something, and go on webcam darts, because like literally every day I'm seeing more and more people, going on webcam darts to play. I'm like, don't tell me you can't get a game there. Now, I can't get a game on webcam darts because I'm always on there at like these odd hours. I'll go on at 2:30 in the morning Chicago time. Everyone's asleep.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, I go on there and, but I'm telling you, it's really it's funny. We had these guys on the show last year. We had Andrew Hare and a couple of the other guys on the show talking about webcam darts, and look how long it's taken for people to find them. And it was kind of funny. This guy is telling me, he's like, look, I could spend like $4,000 and get like one of these soft tip machines in my house, and he's, how much does it cost and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know how much it costs, but here's what you do. Save your $4,000, go on webcam darts, and then take your $4,000 and go play the Americas tour. Right? Because it's like Dallas, Indianapolis.
Would he rather play steel tip anyway?
I think he just wants a game. He wants to go play and beat on people. He's got that attitude. It was kind of an interesting conversation. So I just thought,
hopefully he heeds your advice.
I don't know. We said at the time,
especially because,
about,
and he's from where? He's from Boston?
No, but he's from like somewhere on the East Coast. I'm not really sure where he lives anymore.
But at 2:30 in the morning,
I should have asked him.
Yeah, at 2:30 in the morning, maybe you could actually have a game against him.
Then it's 3:30 in the morning in Boston. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're awake, you're not sober, unless you just got home from work or something. Yeah, well, I'm not very good at drinking, to be honest with you. Ask anyone, and it's not like I ain't had practice. You know what I'm saying? Do we have any clock at all on this thing?
I don't know.
So you're on your own then when it comes to break time. You're just going to have to kind of guess.
Well, yeah, especially since everything got screwed up from the beginning. I don't even know what time we started. So we got a couple minutes.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
So just so you guys know, if you look down on the crawl, we've got all sorts of results in there. I put the Ray Chesney results in there, and I thought we did them on the show, but I put them in there again anyway. And there's also there's PDC results in there. There's BDO results in there. We'll have Canadian results when we have them. We have the rankings up there, and then we need to say something about the Dart Talk Power Rankings, because I really gave this some thought after the show last week, right? So let me run this by you.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want to do this? Is this going to be more than a couple minutes?
Well, I don't know. Yeah. Everything I say is more than a couple of minutes.
Let's
I
take
can't
our
even
first
order
break.
coffee without. Okay. All right. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve Panonsiamo. We'll be right back. Oh, where are we going with? Okay, we're going to go here. Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. I hope we didn't cut out right there. I'm still getting used to this like kind of software that we're using here, and apparently we're still having a technical issue, so bear with us, please. So what are we talking about? Where were we?
You had something to say.
Which
right before we went to break.
Any idea what it was?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, well, we're gonna. It's the power rankings.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so
that's right.
Now you're familiar with how they do them, like in college football and all that stuff.
Yes,
you follow all that stuff.
Correct.
So here's my concern and why we're going to do this, and it's going to actually take a lot of effort on my part, which does, whatever, fine. And it goes back to the question, you have to remember like a year and a half, 2 years ago on the show when I'm like, I walk into like my local pub, somebody's like, hey man, what are you ranked? And I have no answer because there's like 10, 15, 12 different ranking systems.
Right.
So at one point I thought we had one, and now I don't think we do anymore. So last year we were going by like the PDC North American Order of Merit. I thought that was a fair way to do it.
That,
I mean,
yes.
there's some tournament players in play, and for whatever reason, but it wasn't many. So it wouldn't be hard to just sort of slip those guys in somewhere and say, hey, here's where you are. So the problem, though, is like, how do you really tell how people are doing? How do you compare somebody who can only play one tournament a month to somebody who could play 4 tournaments a month? If you play one tournament a month and you do really, really well versus a guy that plays 4 tournaments a month and does okay in all 4, with all the ranking systems I've seen, the guy who goes to all 4 tournaments is going to be ranked higher than you, even though you've done better. Right?
Okay.
I think one first is better than 4 top 16s or whatever. Right. So here's the plan. Here's the plan. We're going to have a rolling scale where we're going to take the results from every tournament, certified results from every tournament we can find, soft tip and steel. I think we're to the point now where we can actually incorporate soft tip play into the rankings.
All right.
Right? There's a couple of caveats. I mean, but in general we can do that. If you say it's only open tournaments, you're going to wipe out most of the big soft tip tournaments, right? If you say it's only open, then something like the NDA Team Dart, where you have to play like so many games in the league. I don't know if anybody still plays Medalist, but Medalist you had to play 2 seasons, this X number of games, whatever. In order for you to count those tournaments, those aren't technically open,
right?
And I'm kind of thinking, well, you know what? It's only one a year. And, like the soft tippers generally will play, soft tippers, I mean, people that play soft tip generally play in this league. Some do, some don't. If a guy plays in it, should you count it? Right? Well, anybody's got the opportunity to play. If they choose not to, then, that's one thing.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, yeah, we can use those.
Right.
Right? The bull shooter in Illinois Memorial Day weekend's pretty much open to anybody. I mean, there's, okay, we ban this guy, we ban that guy. I'm not going to wipe out a whole tournament because like 2 or 3 guys aren't going to play. I think if you balance it out, that will all work. So I think we can incorporate soft tip into the rankings. Now, the question is, how do you do this, right?
True.
So I've come up with a system that I think is workable. So let me lay this out, and you tell me
lay it on
what you think. Okay. We're gonna break. The rankings are going to be a 4-month snapshot of how people are, right? So what I've done is I've weighted the current month higher than the others, and then every preceding month is weighted less. So 40% for the current month, right?
Why is that?
Because what the rankings are going to reflect is like kind of who's hot, who's not.
Okay.
Right? So if the first month is 40% and the next month is 25%, that's 65% that you break down in the other 2 months. So 20 and 15 makes 100%. So if you win something this month, you're going to shoot up in the rankings. But if you don't win in the next 3 months, you're going to slowly slide down.
Okay.
Right? So if you keep winning, you stay up. So you're going to see, if this works out right, you're going to see a lot more movement in the rankings, but I think it will accurately tell you kind of what's going on. Remember last year when like Soldier Gates was like kind of winning at everything? He didn't move up in the rankings, right? But who was the hottest player in America on September 1st?
Okay.
It was Leonard Gates. I mean, it was like hands down Leonard Gates, right? He didn't get any credit for it. So I'm thinking we can do this and it can work. So I was talking to Cebu Cat last night, and I'm like, and we're going to rank the tournaments not by how much money they're offering, but by strength of field. And he's like, is there a way to do that? I'm like, absolutely there is.
All right.
To quantify it. Because let's say you live in New England, right? And you go to like a $5,000 tournament on a weekend where not much is going on, and you get hordes of like really, really good players, right? You're going to compare that tournament to a tournament in, I don't know, Kansas or Oklahoma or, somewhere where it's really, if it's a $10,000 tournament, that's not really enough for a lot of people to travel. So if you compare the field at the $10,000 tournament in the remote area versus the $5,000 tournament in the dense area, you're going to see that the $5,000 tournament is a lot tougher to win. There's more players. There's more quality players.
Okay.
So how do we quantify that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's easy. It's like I can go through the certified results and see everyone who played. Like, let's say, we'll pick a name out of a hat. Let's say Darren Young. Everybody knows Darren. Let's say Darren goes to this $5,000 tournament and for one reason or another flames out of the singles, flames out of the doubles, right? But manages to, like, make it into the money and the trips.
Okay.
A nightmare scenario for Darren Young.
Yeah, I'm sure he's...
I'm just saying, you'll
he's
know...
Like, well, why am I going to this tournament?
Well, you'll know he was there.
Yeah.
You can look and see who was top 32, who's 16, and you can get a pretty good sense of, like, how many quality players are in this field versus how many quality players are in that field. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a Q next to someone's name. If you're a quality player... And I'm not going to tell anybody who's a quality player because I'm not going to take the emails on this. But if there's 15 quality players in this tournament, then this tournament is, on the scale from 1 to 7, this tournament's a 4.
Okay.
And then this tournament has more quality players, and that one's a 5, and so on and so forth. So if you compare Philadelphia, the Pennsylvania tournament that was the beginning of the year, versus the Vegas Open had more quality players. Therefore, the Vegas Open will be weighted higher.
Right, of course.
Right? Because they're both in the same month, they'll kind of like, pare it down. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to limit you to 3 results per month. So we're going to take your 3 best results per month. That makes it a little more like, well, okay, this guy played like 9 tournaments and won twice. This guy played 1 tournament and won twice. Right? So we're going to just sort of like, we'll take your 3 best, your 3 highest point.
Okay, but if you played 9 and won twice, you're going to take 2 wins anyway. And if you played twice and won once.
Yeah, well, there's not many people that can play 3 or 4 tournaments a month.
Right.
There's like 5 guys. So what? Because they go out more often.
Well, no,
this isn't, if you win 5 tournaments in January, or 5 events, I should say. If you win 5 events in January, what are your top 3? Is anybody going to beat those? I mean, are you not going to be like the highest ranked guy for January?
Right.
In which case, you'll be the highest ranked guy until January drops off in May. Right? I think this is a fair way to do it. I think that this way you kind of like can at least, you'll look at our rankings and you'll say, okay, this guy's hot, this guy's not. It's not anything definitive. It's not going to be like this mythic,
No, it's like the RPI rankings.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like an RPI ranking as opposed to like the coach's poll.
Exactly.
Where, okay, well, this guy's a friend of mine, I'm voting for him.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Right.
I mean,
it's more of a strength of schedule type of deal and
yeah, I want to get the politics out as
Yeah.
best I can because I don't think the politics are helping darts in America at all. Right. I don't think the politics do anything but harm, to be honest with you. And that was part of the thing with the Players Challenge Series. It's not an ADO event. It's not a BDO event. It's not a PDC event, so nobody can get penalized for playing, right?
Right.
That was like kind of the whole idea to doing it that way, was that, you make it open to everybody, be as inclusive as possible, right?
Yeah.
And then let the people play. Let them play. What was that? What movie is that? Let them play. Let William Devane. Oh, I know. It was the bad one, Bad News Bears. It was like the 3rd one.
Oh.
Where they're at the Astrodome with the real Astros. Well, what
like...
can I tell you?
Okay.
Hey, ask the chat room if they like the Goofy Cam. I'm kind of curious. Are we? Where are we on time? Did we? Yeah, we're kind of curious how you guys are liking the new look. But
we got a good 5 minutes.
Do we? We have 5 minutes left?
Yeah.
What do you want to do first? Or what do you want to do next? We did Premier League. Do you want to run down the matches real quick? Pick
the
a
Premier
winner.
League?
Yeah, pick a winner. I had him here, didn't I?
Yeah, you had him up earlier.
Okay. Match 1 is Chizzy against Robert Thornton.
I'd take Thornton.
See, that's another coin flip.
Yeah, it is. It's pick him.
Nah, Chizzy's going to win that.
Is he?
Yeah.
All right.
Peter Wright and Wes Newton.
Big fave.
That's a big favorite, right?
Yeah.
Wes Newton is like nobody's going to put a dime on this guy. I mean, it's not like he's chopped liver.
Right.
That's interesting. And Peter Wright's never played in.
Well, yeah, he's
before.
9-10. I mean,
that's a heavy favorite against Wes Newton. And Wes Newton played last year. Peter Wright's never set foot on this stage. It's a lot of money on Peter Wright. They're not playing in Scotland. I don't know. I can't believe Wes isn't going to give him a game.
Well, like I said, it just depends.
Peter Wright's been playing fantastic, but
these don't show whether these are the odds, the original odds, or if they're changed odds after wagering. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
because
right.
if the odds makers actually made Peter Wright 9-10 to begin with, then they're saying he's going to win.
Okay.
If it was like 7-5 to begin with, and they were a pick 'em, and then all of a sudden all the bettors made him 9-10, then everybody's betting on Peter Wright.
Okay. You understand this? Yeah. You don't know if that's the opening line or later. Know. Okay. Well, next week we'll have to find out. I'll try to fix that. Okay. You know more about this than I do. I don't really gamble. Raymond van Barneveld and Gary Anderson. Another pick 'em. Pick one. I'll pick
Gary
the other
Anderson.
one. You like Gary Anderson there?
I
go draw.
I seem to pick. I
go draw.
You get better odds on the draw. I mean, you got.
Well, it's less likely.
2 guys at 7-5, so you might as well take the draw. If they're that evenly matched, might as well.
Somebody's got to win.
Get your money on the draw.
I'll take the draw.
There you go.
It was funny. Somebody was rooting for a draw in the Players Challenge Series match this weekend, and I'm like, you can't have a draw. Like, we have no draws. It's a
right.
race to 10. There's no, okay, what else we got here?
Then you got Phil Taylor, Van Gerwen, which we touched on earlier. Pick 'em.
Yeah.
You could take the draw again if you want. But I would take solely on the aspect that they made Van Gerwen the favorite, and then now they're even money. I would take Phil Taylor.
It doesn't.
Match.
I'll tell you something about this match, and this is very much a match worth watching, because if Taylor plays bad, and Taylor plays good and gets stomped, either way, I can't imagine him playing with much confidence for the next couple of months.
Yeah.
And if you guys look in the crawl, at some point you're going to see like a quote from Phil Taylor. He's got these new darts and all this other stuff, and he changed they finally announced, it was like everybody knew like 9 months ago he was going to Target, but we see these new darts and everything, and I'm like, I can't believe he doesn't go back to the old ones that he won like 15 titles with.
That were working.
I have not seen. He had stretches where he played about as well as he ever has, and he's saying he's better. I remain unconvinced.
Well, is it kind of like Rory McIlroy going to the Nikes because they paid him to do it, so he has to?
No. Rory McIlroy's problem is he hung out with Tiger Woods too long, and he's turning into David Duval. That's what's happening to him.
No,
I think the guy just like messed with his head, and and
the story is that because he switched to Nikes because that was now his sponsor, and he couldn't hit him.
Woods had a terrible time. Woods had to fire those things, and it's tough getting equipment to match up the way the way you want. When you come up as a player, you're using something off the shelf,
right?
I know like every darter's got their own darts now, but when somebody just throws a set of darts in your hand, that's what you get used to, and that's
exactly
right. Darts especially is like, is this dart really going to give you an advantage? I find that kind of hard to believe. If you're having grip problems and you want a different knurl, or you're going to go from a straight barrel to a front-loaded barrel, that's a huge change. That's you got to be kidding me. But Rory McIlroy, why don't they just literally copy what he's using, because what he's using is great.
Because it was working.
I don't understand that. I don't know what he was using before. Right before he was famous, he's using a set of pings, or he's using a set of
Callaways or whatever.
Yeah, whatever's. His dad got him at the golf shop, right? So I don't know about that.
So then we're down to Whitlock against Lewis.
Lewis is a heavy
Lewis
favorite.
Heavy favorite, 4-5.
I don't know what to make of Lewis. I was disappointed in the way he played in the World Championship. I really, he played like Denver in the Super Bowl. I mean, he was like nowhere near the player that he was to get there. And it was just sort of like, I don't know.
So
it was a disappointing match to watch. Not much juice watching that match. He just got drummed.
Then Whitlock might be good for your money.
Yeah,
I know if Lewis is playing poorly.
I don't know.
Take 9-4.
I don't know how anybody bets on this stuff because, to be honest with you, Whitlock has not been playing that well. He's not playing as well as he was, like, say, 18 months ago, a year ago. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. Maybe we should do power rankings just on the Premier League. It's a lot easier to do.
Right.
Maybe we should do that and just to check out our algorithm.
See how it works.
Be interesting. Yeah, instead of going month by month, you go match by match. You go 5 matches, and then they start dropping off. Kind of weight them. I don't know. We could try that. Is it time for a break? Because I'm almost out of breath. Where are we? Are we halfway through?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll be right back. You listen to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve Poncielman, and it will not be long. Shall not be long.
Shannot.
It's not even a word. We had the flyer up last week, and the one thing that I forgot to mention was that they've raised over the past, I don't know how many years, like $36,000 for charity at this tournament, which is pretty good for a $10,000 tournament that they're raising that kind of money. I thought is just outstanding. And there's a lot of excitement about the matchup they have there.
No sound.
I forgot to click that thing. So
Again?
there's sound now. I know.
Okay.
That's what's killing me about this thing. It's like I got to get used to doing it.
I forgot to tell you to click it too.
Sorry about that, guys. No, but this weekend at TRICODA, Saturday, I believe we published the time at 5:30. Shane Smoke Meeks against Boom Boom, Joe Huffman.
Nice.
Going to be a great match. Going to be a great match. I mean, Huffman, I think, if you guys look down at the crawl, I think Huffman's like number one in the power rankings, seeing as he won the cricket championship and was runner-up in the 501 singles in Vegas. It's an awfully good weekend. You win the cricket and the 01. Well, almost won the 01. I mean, went through everybody but Richie Burnett.
Right.
I mean, that's still... And to be honest with you, I think that probably the Vegas Open's the toughest field of the year because you get so many, international players coming in there. And that's no disrespect to any other tournament. Stanford's always a tough tournament. Syracuse is always a tough tournament. All the ones they have, like Port City and Seacoast, are always tough. I know which city was tough last year. Whenever you get these tournaments in the Northeast where you've got, Canadian players coming in from Ontario. Yeah. Like last year, the toughest fields were the PDC tournaments and the New World Dart Series. I think those were the toughest tournaments. I mean, when you look at how many queues, how many quality players are in there of the people that are there. I mean, there's not 250 players, but there's like 60 or 70 quality players. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough field. So, it's going to be interesting to see how Shane and Joe play, and I know they've been kind of hankering back and forth with each other a little bit.
Well, that's
doing
good.
A little, and Shane's one of these guys. Shane's a veteran. I actually misposted something. If you look on Facebook in the Players Challenge series, no apostrophe, and you look at his biography, it says 16 years. It's actually 20.
Oh, all right.
So I mean, a lot of these guys, playing 20 years. I mean, my gosh, I've played I'm going on 13, and I'm like, feel like I'm done. I mean, especially after last night. Last night was brutal.
Really?
I got no stamina. Well, I haven't been playing, It's like, and you don't just, all of a sudden you play like one day and you're like, okay, I'm ready.
Everything's all
I don't think it works that way. So Ralph Too Cool McCool's playing, not this weekend, but next weekend in Huntsville. He's got his rematch with Jason Brandon coming. And I'm supposed to play doubles with Ralph. I may have to warn him.
Oh, nice.
Somebody's going to be wearing the Steve mask.
You play doubles with him down there, right?
Oh, he's one of the easiest guys to play doubles with I've ever seen. And we see the game the same way, so it's really easy for me to play cricket with him. Right? He does some funny things on his finishes, but outside of that, when it comes to cricket, I mean, I don't have to ask him, what should I do here, what should I do there? We're always on the same page, so that's going to make it easier because you know how I get mental.
Yes.
Get a little mental playing cricket. And my cricket game, I played a couple of legs of cricket last night just for fun, and I was hitting all sorts of stuff, and I was like, oh, well, okay. I just don't see how anybody should – I don't think you need to practice cricket. I think if you just play 01 and then just go in there and play some cricket, I think that's the way to go. They're talking – somebody at Webcam Darts was saying they're going to put cricket in there, and I'm like, don't do it. It's not going to help anybody.
Yeah, right.
Just go up there and play cricket. No, not me. Anyway, so yeah. So now, you're clear on the PCS thing stuff, right? I mean,
Well, I
got some stuff that people are still a little unsure about this, that, or the other thing. Are you at least clear on everything we're doing?
I think I am, but I probably have a couple questions for you.
You got a couple questions for me? Probably.
Well, I mean, just to clarify.
All right, let's clarify.
I mean,
let's talk Little Players Challenge series in general.
You've expressed the format, but
I've said on the show that the format is simple.
Know what it is.
All right, the format for the Players Challenge Series, for the people that are a little late to the party, is a race to 10, which makes it a best of 19. It's alternate start 501, and we're using the PDC Ditto rule, the first leg and the last leg.
Okay.
No stats, no match.
No stats, no match.
Yeah. If you don't turn in stats, you don't get a match.
And how quickly do these stats have to be turned in?
I asked for 48 hours in the last thing I posted in the players group. We have a little group on Facebook. It's supposed to be just for the players so they can communicate easily with each other and stuff like that. And it's funny, most of the good players aren't really on Facebook much, It's just people like me, I guess. So I've had to use a lot of text messages and stuff like that. But no, we need stats, so I can get the reports out so people can see what's going on. We got a little system going, right? We publish a preview of the match, we do the bio of the player, and then after the match, we report on the match like it's a sport. Like what happened in yesterday's game? Well, here's what happened, and here's your box score.
Right.
And it's popular, right? So I think it works great. So anyway, that's the format.
I mean, is it really too hard to ask for the two people that are playing a match to keep their own stats and send them to you?
Don't irritate me now. Let's just,
All right.
That's and those I can't. You can't make it any simpler.
Speaking of those players, how did you come to pick the players to play in this thing?
Okay, now that's actually a good question, and I got it from like 2 or 3 people, and I'm just shaking my head like, didn't I post all this stuff? Right? Like, here's the concept. It's like, basically, we're organizing, a series of exhibitions, but they're linked because it's like a single elimination tournament, right? So, but because the idea of the Players Challenge Series is that you don't have, as a player, you don't have to spend any extra money to play in it.
Okay.
What we did was we picked the matchups that, we felt would be the most attractive to whatever local dart community is hosting a tournament, right? So in Greenville, South Carolina, we had Robbie Phillips and Pat Hewitt play. 2 of the best shots in that area, 2 of the most popular players, and the players we felt, I felt that, people would want to see play.
Most compelling, right?
Yeah, and that's, somebody sent me something. I'm not going to quote the whole thing, but, as an exhibition, who do you want to see play? The idea behind the Players Challenge Series is that if the tournaments promote these in advance, maybe we'll get some league people to come watch the match and then stay for the blind draw. Or, buy a couple of beverages, get some more, people in the tournament. I think one of the reasons, there's a lot of reasons that like tournament participation may have been declining over the years, but I think one of the things that's been lacking is a direct promotion. Come to this tournament. And I always thought it was more than just posting a flyer with a bunch of numbers that you can't read because there's not enough lighting in your dart bar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the flyers are awful. Right.
The players in Chicago. We had a big tournament in Chicago for years. How many league players would go?
Not as many as you would think.
Right, but
yeah, for sure.
Did anybody really make a point of saying you must come?
No,
check
it was
this out. We have this now.
At best, it was word of mouth.
Right.
Oh, you going to the Cup? You going to the Cup? You going to the Cup?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the Cup. I'm talking about the Windy City Open.
The Open.
Did you ever go?
Yeah.
Windy City Open.
Yeah.
I mean, the league players, they
times.
actually started having a tournament just for the league players at the same time that they were having the tournament for, the non-league players, and it turned into a catastrophe.
Right.
So, I mean, I just felt that this was going to be a good way to get people to come out and watch darts and give them something worth watching.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, we left some really good players off.
I mean, but
we can't have.
You're getting a backlash,
a
small amount of backlash from players like that weren't invited. But there's also a reason because you can't. Well, first of all, you can only have X amount of people to start because you're just trying to get this thing on the ground.
Well, yeah, this is the first. This is the first go around,
right.
And if it turns out to be as popular as I suspect it will be, then it will grow next year. I'm already trying to. Figure out the best way to do it for next year.
That have expressed interest in being in it that aren't.
Well,
you can add them.
Yeah, I mean,
but you also
it could go a lot of different ways. But we have to start with something. Somebody sent me something about how you should have had a committee or something at the beginning, and I'm like, you start with a committee, they'd still be trying to figure out what to call it.
Yeah,
I mean, admittedly, it isn't the greatest name on earth. Could have done better, but we. Basically, in December I don't know. Some people like committees.
Well,
I'm just saying we started this on the show.
Maybe
like
somewhere down the road you'll
right?
have a committee for it if it's popular enough. But just for the first year, and you're just putting this all together.
Can you imagine
via the phone?
Yeah, I mean literally by using Facebook, text messaging, and email. This is where we're at right.
Right.
So okay, I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we're doing pretty good. And I think anybody that goes to TRICODA this weekend is going to see one cracker of a match. And a lot of people are like kind of excited about it and stuff. I don't know. I doubt it's going to be streamed. Hopefully we'll get some video on it, and we'll try to get that out to everybody. But it's going to be definitely don't miss. And I think the tournament directors are really getting behind this. I think they're starting to realize that they could use this to enhance their tournament, which is one of the things that I thought would be appealing. Right. Oh, and the other thing is, go ahead. No, I was going to say we're adding 4 matches.
Oh, okay.
At the North American Dart Championship in Midland, Michigan, in the middle of March, like the 14th, 15th, 16th. The people that sign up to qualify to play in the North American Dart Championship, we're going to take 8 people. And I don't know if we're going to be able to stream them all, but we're going to stream some of the matches and have 8 matches there. Or I'm sorry, 4 matches there, 8 players.
In case people don't remember, the end result of the champion of the Players Championship Series gets
$2,000.
$2,000.
$2,000 cash money.
And
cash money. Sponsored by Dart Talk. I spent the whole budget, by the way, for the show.
Did you?
In case you wanted to send out for donuts. We have no money now.
No donuts?
No, well, I think it's worth
it. I can't get a donut?
I mean, we never did this show to make money.
How about a bear claw?
We've been good at that. Well, I don't know.
Right.
I'm just saying it's like I think that if the players get behind it and the players really want to do this and the players honestly see what good can come of it and what good can, not only personally, I mean, as dart players, it's kind of hard not to be totally self-centered and because you're competitors. It's like the PGA Tour, right?
Yes,
it's not a team event. It's like it's you against the field. I mean, it's you against everybody, and everybody, they go about it differently. And some people are more outgoing than others. Some people are perceived to be standoffish, or like me. I guess I'm considered a clown or whatever. Who cares? But as far as the collective good goes. For all the players involved, this is a huge windfall. Not only do you get a free crack at $2,000, but you get a chance to showcase your game in front of, your hometown. And, let me tell you, when we get to the second round, I mean, it's going to be fantastic, man.
Plus, it's got to be a good warm-up for these guys going into the tournament they're going to play in.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, I went back and forth on how long to make it, because you want to make it long enough for there to be some ebb and flow in the matches, right? But then you don't want it so long that these guys can't play the rest of the weekend or the rest of the day or whatever and stuff like that. So I thought a race to 10 would be okay, right? The Premier League is like a race to 7, but you can tie. And I was like, I don't want to deal with ties. And then a race to 8, I'm like, why not just go race to 10? I mean, the guys that we have playing in this thing are good enough where, they're not going to take that long to play. I mean, if they're, taking a lot of breaks and stuff, it was going to take long. But, I mean, I used to practice with a guy, and we'd play 20 legs an hour. Just boom, 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 one right after the other, We had an electronic score thing. So, I mean, anybody who goes to these matches, feel free to volunteer to chalk and stuff like that. These guys chalking their own is not, that's pretty painful. And hopefully that won't happen. We got people volunteering to chalk, volunteering to score. I mean, the people that are into darts are really into this. We just want to try to get it down to the local league level and start getting more people into the dart hall for these tournaments. And I think if we're successful with that, this is going to be a huge shot in the arm.
Since you started it,
darts in general.
You've had people drop out, and you're adding people. Is there a bracket that people could see who plays where, when?
Well, there isn't a bracket per se where it's like, okay, whoever wins this match is going to play this guy, because the idea behind the tournament,
you don't know where they can play at.
Well, yeah, because we're not going to require people to play. I mean, can you imagine what I'd get accused of? I'm like, okay, you have to go play in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to Cleveland. I got a wedding that weekend. Well, then you're out. Oh, I'm Hitler. I mean, we're not going to do that. No. I have a system, and it's a very good system, and everybody who plays will be extremely happy with the system. I just have not shared the system with anyone.
All right.
And the system will be, I will give people a hint that when we do the draw for the second round, 8 people will be seated, and then the other 8 people will be drawn into the other 8, and we will do the draw live on the show, just like the PDC does.
Okay.
So we'll literally, you'll be able to pull a name out and read it, and we'll write it down, and it'll be so totally cool.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll do it live on the show. So, anybody any conspiracy theorists out there thinking I'm trying to rig it. By the way, I'm not playing, and it's really bugging me.
Right.
It's really, I was talking to somebody on the phone today, and I was like, man, I wish I was playing in this thing. This is like the coolest thing, you know? So, and actually, you know, it's funny, you know, I said we came up with the idea on the show, which we kind of did. We were just sort of, I don't remember what we were talking about, but we kind of came up with the idea on the show. And one of the things that really germinated it in my head was the match I had with Danny Delfino. Mm-hmm. Because, Danny's a popular guy, and, you know, he was, like, on Facebook, like, saying stuff, and, you know, he basically dogged me for months on this, right?
Right,
And
yeah,
got some help, people saying I'm a chicken and all this other stuff. But at any rate, you know, there was enough interest in there where there were like 1,000 people like downloaded the video or something last time I looked. Plus, however many, I don't know how many people were watching live, and in the dart hall there were, you know, some people kind of coming in watching and all this stuff. And it made me think, you know what, that's pretty good. If 1,000 people are going to watch me play or Danny play, how many people are going to watch, Darren play Jimmy Widmer?
Right.
Or, you know, Tom Sawyer play, you know, whoever. You know, just pick a name. They're all great players, right? I mean, I find it compelling as a fan. I think people are going to want to see that. We have to figure out a way to get these matches scheduled a little sooner so that the local people can get the word out. So, like not this weekend, but at Shoot the Moon in Huntsville, Ralph and Jason are going to play at 5:30 Friday before the draw or before the pro singles. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool, right? And then Saturday, Chuck Pankow is going to play Joe Cheney. And I guess they're both going to skip the draw.
Oh, okay.
So people that want to play in the Saturday draw can come and watch these guys play and then play in the draw too. Mm. And it may be that you can't stay and watch the whole match. And it may be, not ideal, but I think it's something. You know what I mean? It's not going to be perfect right now, but I think next year we can make it perfect if we get the cooperation we need. And if the players decide that it's no good and they don't want to do it and they don't want a free shot at $2,000 and they would rather just play for entry fees and quarters and all this stuff, then that's what they'll get.
And so be it.
You know, the marketplace determines a lot of this stuff, right? I mean, you look at how many more tournaments there are this year and last year than there were 5 years ago. You know, it's going to be competitive. Some of the tournaments that are worried about, you know, their own attendance. Like, let's say you have a tournament somewhere and unfortunately, you know, like we had scheduling conflicts last year. There was a tournament I wanted to go to in New Hampshire I didn't go to because I went to another one. I mean, we said it's good to have choices, but at some point the tournaments are going to have to kind of like not really compete with each other, but you have to make it worthwhile for people to travel. Right. And with expensive as you know, traveling doesn't get any cheaper.
No,
airfare's not getting any cheaper. Hotels are not getting any cheaper. Big Macs are not getting any cheaper.
Right.
I mean, you know, you need to have more reasons for people to come out. And to be honest, all these tournaments, you know, as much as, you know, the traveling people help, if they get their local people out, then they don't have to worry about traveling people.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting how this evolves.
We're due for a break.
Are we due for a break? Was that your last question, or did you have more?
No, I think that's it for right now.
Was that it? Okay. We'll take our last break. You'll listen to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark, Steve Poncielman. We will be right back. Okay, back for the fourth quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. So what? We're running out of tape.
Yes,
Running out of time. We got a lot of stuff going on here.
We're at the end of our rope.
Sorry for the audio cutouts. We've got new software, and apparently I have to click on something, and if I forget, you guys get no sound. So let that be a lesson to all of us.
Or if I forget.
All right, so let's end up with this, because we're running long, but I, for the life of me, tried to explain something to the love of my life.
Okay.
What was it, like a week ago?
Well, this might be good.
Well, can they see? Okay, so can you see my arm?
I see your
We
arm.
used to do this when we were playing tennis. You would kind of like bounce the ball and stuff, and every now and then you would like take the ball in the palm of your hand, let it roll down your forearm, and then when it got to the crook of your elbow, you would pop it, right?
Right.
So I experimented with that. I don't know.
With a dart?
The first 3 months I was playing, I would try to make. See, I can't. Okay, I'm not left-handed. I would try to make sure that I like kind of pop my elbow as I threw the.
Oh, okay.
That is not what I look like when I throw.
Right.
But the idea was to get extension, and to do that, you have to straighten your elbow.
Right. Yeah.
And instead of like trying to throw my wrist at it and stuff like that, it was like the elbow pop I found very helpful.
You're pretending you were hitting a tennis ball,
well,
so to speak.
No. See, I still can't explain it. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is like Joe Cheney is brilliant. Chainsaw posted a video on Facebook, and what he did was I think he took like a playing card and he put it on the crook of his elbow and he threw a dart, and the as he followed through, the playing card just went flying.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, that's what I was trying to explain to Joe, was that if you can make your arm make that movement, you have no choice but to follow through.
Yeah.
Right, so it's kind of weird, because a lot of people try to
do
it with their
quarter?
hand. Well, you could do it with pretty much anything.
But it has to actually go up in the air. It can't just fall off. It can't just fall off your elbow.
No, I mean the idea is that as you pop it, your elbow actually is kind of gonna go up as your arm unfolds.
Okay.
And it pops it up in the air. And if it goes sideways all the time, then you kind of have one of those weird, well, not weird, but when the further away your arm is from vertical, I think the more trouble you're going to be in. But I mean, works for Gary Anderson. A lot of these guys. If you want to bring the dart right below your eye, you're not going to be you're not going to be able to have your arm completely vertical.
Okay.
Unless you bring your arm in at some very weird spot. Right, so it was one of these guys was asking, remember we did this like perfect stroke thing?
Yeah.
Is there a perfect stroke?
No.
I mean, it stands to reason that there wouldn't be. So all I told him was kind of the same thing I told you that time on the driving range. I'm like, look, I mean, at one point it's like if you do it the same way every time, then it's going to work.
Yeah.
If you've got a lot of extraneous movement and a lot of like really bad fundamentals, you're going to have to spend more time on the board to compensate for that.
Right.
Like that dude who, like John Henderson, the guy who's like rocking forward and then timing it where he lets go of the dart as his body's right over a certain part of his foot. It's like how many hours does he spend a day doing that to get that timing
But
down?
I'm sure when it works great.
Yeah, and I think when he goes up, and that was the other thing I told this guy. I'm like, look, you have to know your own stroke well enough to, when you go off the rails, to be able to fix it, right? So that was kind of like the idea, but that video is priceless, and I'm going to ask him to send it to me so I can show it to everybody.
I'd like to see that.
I'll show it to you after the show, but see, we can now show videos if we have them, but I need to actually have the video. I mean, you could run it like there, and then we could like kind of loop it over where the goofy cam is, but that's not going to work too well. So you have no more questions. I've answered all your questions.
I am out of questions.
Okay. If anybody out there does have questions.
Are we doing the show next week? How about that question?
Why wouldn't we? Oh, yeah. No, yeah, we'll do the show next Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't have to be in. I may go a day early to Huntsville, but we'll do the show Wednesday.
All right.
Next Wednesday, we will have a wrap-up of the Shane Meeks, Joe Huffman match.
Nice.
Possibly another one. We'll preview Chainsaw and Pankow and McCool and Brandon, the rematch. That was a great match they had in New Orleans.
Well,
they've been talking some.
Oh, just from the NWDS?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Which is part of the reason I paired those guys together. I'm like, ooh, rematch. Nice. They're talking a little smack on Facebook.
Yeah.
Ralph says he's going to win 10-4.
Really?
That's bold. That's bold to set it. That's Joe Namath. I'm wearing like a fur coat on national TV. Did you see they messed up the coin flip at the Super Bowl? The minute they did that, I was like,
the funniest thing in the world.
Oh, my God.
Not they messed it up. Joe Namath messed it up.
Why were they trotting him out there anyway? That's what I want to know.
But
of all the old pros that you could get,
they handed him a coin.
Guy.
Well, because he's from New York.
Yeah, I know. Nobody called the flip.
But he didn't give him a chance.
I know.
The guy hands him a coin
hilarious.
And he goes, okay, here. And they, but to see the official scramble to catch it.
I thought he had good hands. I thought he looked pretty.
I can't let that hit the floor.
He had good dexterity. Can you imagine if it would have hit the floor, he would have dove to like.
That was so
like
funny.
He was recovering
like
a fumble.
It was not a grenade. Grenade!
Then he's going to be reaching under there and he can't find it. Yeah. Oh, man, that would have been high comedy.
I thought it was funny just the way it happened. But
I don't know. Between that and the snap over the head on the first play of the game. And what really irritated me, and we'll end on this, because I was, I'm not a stat freak, but I like stats. They said it was the quickest score in Super Bowl history.
It was.
It took 2 plays.
Yeah.
First you had to kick it off, and then you had to snap
it
over the guy's head. It was quicker
than Devin Hester running the kickoff back.
Devin Hester has to be tearing his head out.
He
ran
seconds.
back the opening kickoff, and now somebody beat it.
It took
with
13
some
seconds.
Ridiculous. Oh my!
And it took 12 seconds to snap. And it would have taken even less if he would have snapped it completely out of the end zone. But instead, they scrambled for the ball, so the clock was ticking. But they really could have done it in like 7 seconds if the center would have just said "screw this" and completely snapped it into the end zone or into the out of bounds.
Could be a record that's never broken.
But I agree. I thought of the same thing. I said, poor Devin Hester. He has a record that's broken because of a botched snap.
Unbelievable. It was a bad snap. I mean, let's face it.
It was awful.
Was there a point us for even bringing this up? Oh, yeah, so next week. So if you have questions, you can email them to darttalk@gmail.com. If you've got questions about the Players Challenge Series, you could reach us there, too, since we're the sponsor. I got to start putting that on, like, the logo, that it's sponsored by Dart Talk. Because a couple of people are like, well, where's the money coming? Who's sponsoring it? And I thought everybody knew we were sponsoring it. It was our idea. I'm the one doing it. Who did you think was sponsoring it? Sonia Henny's no longer with us. She's not an option. So who else could it be? So I don't know. Hopefully things will work out well. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back. You're gonna for the after party? You're gonna have to hit F5 because this is how this new software works. Mm-hmm. That's why we didn't have like the music we usually have 20 minutes before the show. You can follow us on Stitcher.com, on TuneIn.com. Our video archive is on YouTube.com. Our podcast is on iTunes.com. There's links to everything. Just go on the World Wide Web. Go to darttalk.us. If you need any dart stuff, go to thedartzone.com. Get it from him. And we will dart talk to you next week.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. Everybody take care, and we'll be back in about a minute or so.